How do you build a network, run a profitable business, and make an impact? Oh, and have a personal life at the same time? That's the question, and this podcast is the answer. I'm your host, Chaz Wilson, husband, father of five, author of the book 5+1, president and co-founder of Master Networks Inc., a national networking organization. Look, each week I bring you successful entrepreneurs who will share success strategies of how to effectively build a network, add valuable wisdom to your journey, and help you succeed. Welcome to Connect, Share, and Prosper. Welcome to Connect, Share, Prosper. We are here with Hoss Pratt. He is a husband, father to 3 little girls, a national authority on lead generation and conversion. He is highly sought after, in-demand keynote presenter and trainer, especially in the real estate conventions and real estate training. He's the host of Self-Made, his podcast, which I was excited to be a part of. He's also this is what, Hosss, you're going to have to share with us on these right here. But these accomplishments are out of this world, man. This is why everyone needs to listen today. He's presented 1,100 sold out webinars online, conducted 1,300 live seminars in 48 states. This one I loved. Knocked on over 100,000 doors, made over 200,000 prospecting calls, and presented at over 2,000 kitchen tables. Man, if this guy isn't the authority on lead generation, I don't know who is. Hosss, welcome to Connect, Share, Prosper.
Man, Chaz, thanks for having me, buddy. Thank you.
So excited. And I think that's what we should talk about today, because so many businesses are in this thing where they don't know what to do. They're frustrated with productivity or lack of, and it all starts with leads. But before we get into that meat of the leads, I want to know where it started for you as an entrepreneur. Like, when did you know, because you've had many successful businesses, like this isn't your first go at this. How did you know you were an entrepreneur? When did that happen, and what did that look like for you?
Man, ever since I was a kid, I was a fat, overweight kid as a child. I was heavier than all my skinny little brothers. I was, they all wrestled. I wrestled too. I just wasn't as good as they were. I was a lover, not a fighter, but in my family, you got your stats that way. And I was always unique, Chaz. Like, I always knew I was different. Like, I knew I had talents and some potential in me. And so I would do things like, I grew up in Missouri, and I remember walking the ditches of the beer, picking up beer cans that the farmers threw in the ditches. And I would collect beer cans, and every time we went to Iowa, because I have family up there, I would take the cans, because you can get 5 cents a can in Iowa. Because there's a lot of those stories. Like, I'm like the time I was scooping snow and it wasn't snowing and I needed to make money. So I thought of this idea that I was going to sell raffle tickets to go to be able to sell those. And whoever won, then I would scoop their snow for free. Like, I look back on those things. So I think the potential was always there. But the thing for me is I met Jimbo, my mentor, who was a millionaire when I was a teenager, that really nailed it for me and helped me think the right way in business and life. And Jimbo took me under his wing, because I didn't go to college. I barely made it through high school. But Jimbo gave me my first piece of advice. He said, start a business. Profits are better than wages. And so I went all in, man. Early on, I went all in. I got my first business loan at 17.
When did you meet him?
Whenever I was a teenager.
Okay. So you had that at that time in your life, like that was the mindset you were thinking. So that probably also made school difficult, because you're in this mindset.
Jimbo screwed me all up, dude. Yeah, he did. Because he taught about stuff that mattered. I remember being in his kitchen and me telling him I was like 16 at the time, me going into his kitchen, me going, Jimbo, I just feel like I'm different than all my friends. Like, I feel like the things that they're interested in, they're not. I feel like, that I have a purpose and I feel like there's something in me and I got to know what it is. And Jimbo goes, you know what it is? He said, that's the spark. I'm like, what's the spark? He goes, all entrepreneurs get the spark. He goes, that's the spark. It's your job to go turn it into a bonfire.
Oh, wow.
And so there's that to me. When somebody says, how did you know? I mean, I've just been reassured all along the journey that that's my path. That's my lane.
Do you still feel you're different?
Yes.
Yeah.
How many people in your world, not your world, but all of our worlds, how many people, y'all, in your world do you know that are positive, enthusiastic, that think the right way, that inspire people, that want the best for other people, that are working on themselves, building skills, growing, becoming. Like, how many people, like just the listeners, how many people in your world do you know, like that come to mind? Chances are probably one, if that.
And you know what's interesting is that then those people, when you act like that, you attract others that are like that often, right? You know, what's funny is that you and I, now we probably crossed paths 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, we were at a real estate convention and we connected, and then I don't know if you remember this. I remember the first time you and I connected, we were at some hotel, I think Arizona might've been. And we went out to the lobby, we connected there, sat, for maybe a half hour, talked about our businesses. And then we stayed in touch over the years. It's so interesting that then, when you're trying to make an impact, as you said, how you end up crossing paths again. That's why I was so excited to have you on the show today, because after all these years, here we are back, crossing
what's
paths.
funny about that day? Like, I don't forget faces. So like, even in seminars, I remember people's face that were, third row. It just, and I remember the day. I don't remember where it was, but I remember the day. The feeling that you gave me when I met you, I felt that, because it's like I seek those people out. I feel the energy of those people. It's kind of like it's electricity. When you have two people like that come together, it's electric. And I knew you were a winner, dude. I knew you were going to go on to do big things. I knew that you had tons of potential and talent, and you just kept putting yourself in the arena, dude. You made it happen. But from day one, that's how I felt. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's what we all need to do more of, make other people feel that way.
Yeah, that's important, right? And you said that's what Jimbo did for you. Like he saw that in you, obviously, right? So
yes,
he helped you understand that. So what I want to know is, so then where did you start then? So what was the first business? What was the thing you got into right away? Was it real estate? I know you have a background.
No, it was Pratt Lawns, man. I started Pratt Lawns. I was dating this girl at the time. Her dad was president of Williams Pipeline, and it was a huge pipeline, like, out in the Midwest. So I started Pratt Lawns, and Jimbo told me that. So here's how I did it. In the wintertime, because it snows up there, I got on the phone. I cold called the white pages of the phone book, and I said, "Hey, this is Hoss Pratt with Pratt Lawns. I'd like to come give you an estimate on your lawn care this spring." And I just kept saying that. Like you said, hundreds of thousands of calls, because ever since I've done everything that way. I would make 100 to 200 calls a day, and then I would go give estimates. I came up my first year, I had 100 lawns. I went to the bank. I didn't have a single lawnmower at the time. And I went to the banker. I said, "I need a business loan." He goes, "I can't give you a business loan. You're not even old enough," and this and that. This was a small town up in Missouri, right? So like, I told the guy, I pulled out my yellow pad and I put it on his desk. I said, "You have to give me the business loan, because I have 100 lawns right here that I got to go mow. And if I don't get a loan, then I can't mow them." He goes, "Let me see that list." He goes, "You already got these?" I go, "Yes. I called 200 people a day, like for the last 90 days. I've been doing this." He gives me the business loan. He's like, "Dude, I am giving it to you." Gave it to me. And so I started mowing. But back to my girlfriend, whose dad owned Williams Pipeline. At that time, my first year, I didn't have that contract. But the second year, I worked in the good graces to be able to at least give an estimate on this pipeline deal. And long story short, I ended up getting it. It's paid millions of dollars. My brother owns Pratt Lawns today. He still mows grass and still does it, still mows those places in Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, and Missouri.
Wow.
And we'll get into that today, but that's what happens with the power of a niche. I identified a niche in lawn service and then in real estate. So here's what happened then from there. Jimbo says, "Okay, you've done it." I was making six figures as a teenager. And he said, "It's time to move." I'm like, "Why would I move, dude? I just built this business and I'm doing amazing. And it's like, this is what I wanted to do." And he said, "Because you become a product of your environment. You said you wanted to become a millionaire, right?" I said, "Yep." Because I always wanted to be successful, not only just a millionaire, but successful in everything. And he said, "Well, you become a product of your environment. You got to make sure your environment is one you want to become a product of." And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You need to move." I said, "Where do I go?" He goes, "You need to move to Texas." I'm like, "Why Texas?" He goes, "Because it's far enough away that you can't keep coming back, and you won't keep coming back, and the economy's good down there, and you belong down there." And I said, "Where do I go?" He said, "Go to Dallas." I'm like, "Why Dallas?" He goes, "Because that's where you belong." And I said, "I've never been to anywhere. I've never been out of the Midwest." He goes, "Let's go." So he took me on my first airplane ride. We flew to Dallas, and it was in August. It was like 115 degrees. And we drove around. And he goes, "When are you going to move? You want to move here?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Then set the date." I'm like, "Okay." He goes, "No, set it now." And I'm like, "November 15th, I'm going to move."
Wow. That November 15th.
Huh?
That November 15th, like that year.
That coming.
Yeah.
Yep. So I had 90, or not 3, 4, however months I sold my lawn service to my brother and trained him on it. And then I hit the road, man. And I came to Dallas, and I left Missouri at 2:30 in the morning. I got here and I didn't know a single soul. I didn't know anybody here. And I remember the feeling I could be anybody I wanted to be here in Dallas. And that's where I got into sales. I got my first job as a door-to-door salesman.
Doing what? What were you selling?
Spa coupons.
Wow.
Hey, I'm Hosss with ABC Salon right down the road. We're inviting 20 people in for 90% off. Here, check it out. You get 4 visits. You get and all you got to do is fill out that side tab, put your name, number, right? And like every time I did that pitch, I would knock 100 doors a day, and every door, every floor, sell 20 to 30 of them. And
was there ever a time when you got here to Dallas, you were like, boy, I made a mistake? Or were you like, no, this is it. Jimbo was right.
Yeah, I had a period where I was struggling, because this was right after like 9/11. And I remember 9/11 happened during this time. And like from the period, I think I was down here in August. And then 9/11 happened in September. After I set the date, dude, on November 15th, 9/11 happened. So you think back, like I could have let 9/11 prevent me, and I almost did. But then I moved here, but the economy was not good. And I remember 2 weeks in, I called my dad and I said, Dad, I think I made a mistake. I don't think I should have moved here. I think I, bit off more than I could chew. And I think I want to move home. He goes, Hosss, come back, man. We miss you. We nobody will say anything. We'll figure it out. And, it'll all be good. And I hung up the phone, convinced I was moving home. And then I called Jimbo right after that. I said, Jimbo, I just got the phone with my dad, man. The economy's not good. I'm thinking about moving back. I think I made a mistake. And I was doing some belly aching, and Jimbo says, are you done? I said, yes. He said, Hosss, if you move back, you're going to be the biggest effing loser that ever walked the planet. You'll be the laughing stock of the entire state. It would be the single greatest mistake you've ever made in your entire life, and you will always regret it. And right then I said, I'm never moving back.
Wow.
Yeah. And I had that moment though. You're right. Because, and I teach this like in my, whenever I'm speaking or coaching, I teach people that you go through this process of you made the choice. Then you go through the phase of, did I make the right choice? And you start to build a story around that. You start to look for people that are doing good or not good. And you start to build this mindset. And I'm just grateful for Jimbo, man. He's always talked sense into me. He's no longer here. He passed away, but he was put in my life for a reason. I would not be here today if it wasn't for him.
Man, I just feel like the amazing amount of influence he had. I mean, here you talk to your dad. He's like, move back. Jimbo's like, don't you dare move back. And you were like, all right, I'm staying. That's
you know what? I just want to say something. Yeah. And for all of our listeners who have kids, for example, I went through that process of cutting the cord. In high school, I was homecoming king. I was one of the most popular kids in school, in town. I was friends with everybody. And when I left everybody, everything I knew for what I wanted to become. And I cut the cord. And when I cut the cord and I was in a place that I had to succeed, I had to make it, it literally made me the man I am today. And I think every single person needs to go through that process. Maybe, for kids, for some, it may be college, right? In a lot of ways, you go to college for 4 years or 5 years. But for me, I didn't go to college. So it was moving away and making it, and it's too many, we all need to cut the cord.
So by the way, I just want to focus on that for a second, because I couldn't agree more. And it's nowhere near did I walk into this with any intentional idea that this is what we would talk about, but this is really powerful. I hope you guys are listening to this. We're with Hoss Pratt today. And Hosss just shared some amazing amount of wisdom that I love. It's not just, and I would just add to this, it's not just with kids. I think as entrepreneurs, there's times we have to cut the cord. You did that. You cut the cord, you moved, and you went all in, and you succeeded because you had to. And I think what frustrates me sometimes for people is I hear them say things like, I'll give you a good example. We have people who are looking at buying a region of our organization of Master Networks, right?
Right.
And they see the opportunity, they see how amazing it can be, or they're even in the middle of it. They do own it now, but they've got this other thing that's pretty good too, and they can't decide, and they're like, I want to do Master Networks full time, and I know it could be amazing. I know it could make a tremendous income and impact lives, but this thing I have over here is really good. It's sort of like living at home is really good, but if I would cut the cord and jump, I mean, how many times have you had to do that in your life with anything? Like,
so
right?
many. Dude, here's what, today, I could stop what I'm doing today, start something tomorrow, and I'm going to be, boom, just going right again. And I'm not going to miss a beat. But I'll tell you this, one thing I've learned on my journey is like, you can't do 50 different things great. And
right.
The only way that I've ever been successful is because I don't let go, and I do the work, and it takes 100% focus. And on the money-making activities, the things that drive results, that's the reason, you know why I knocked on hundreds of thousands of doors? Because I didn't want to fail.
Yeah.
You know, or why I've made hundreds of thousands of phone calls, because I didn't want to fail. Like, I'm still trying not to fail. Like Jimbo told me that I would. I'm still trying not to move back. And on that journey, I've had to do the work, and like, it's been a lot of hard work, but you know, if you focus on the right things and you do the work, then I feel like you'll always succeed. And if you do things that prevent you from doing the important work, then it's hard to succeed.
So you said I could cut off what I'm doing today and I could start something tomorrow, brand new, right? Probably
many times in my career.
Reinvent yourself. So there are people listening today who've just recently done that, or they're in the process of doing that. Maybe they're leaving a corporate job to start their own business. Maybe they're making a transition career. Like, what would your advice be to somebody today that says, man, I'm starting something new, or my spouse lost their job and we're starting this new business? And like, what would be the advice today for somebody who's starting something new and they're just getting going?
Get the lawns first. Sell the product first. Do the things first. Don't get ready to get ready. Like, that's where people get killed. Like, everything I've done, like, even selling courses, like I sell courses, lots. I've done millions of dollars online, selling them through webinars. And like, let me tell you something, like that every one of those courses would not have been created if I didn't sell it first. I sold the course first. Now I have people that I got to deliver for. Like, and I find that's taking massive action, not overthinking it. And I think that where people fail is they don't do that. So they're avoiding the phone, they're avoiding the email, they're avoiding the lead generation, and they're getting ready to get ready. And like, in this process, like, the process will take care of itself. Like, you already have the process. They don't need to go figure out the process. They just need to take massive action and go get the lawns before the loan. Right. So
like, can I use a phrase that you just did? Like, you should coin this if you haven't
Let's
already.
Hear it.
Let's look at these two. Look at this, right? This is one of the worst phrases I've ever heard from a movie, right? If you build it, they will come. You've heard that, right? From Field of Dreams.
I love that quote because it's from Iowa, and up there in Field of Dreams. But yeah,
but let's look at the two positions, right? If you build it, they will come, and yours was get the lawns first.
That's right.
Like, I think in business, so many people are like, well, it has to be
get
perfect.
them to come, then build it is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I love to get the lawns first. Actually a cool quote, like, get the lawns first. Well, what does that mean? And then you go into this whole thing about what does it mean? Get the lawns first. You know what's funny?
I had a real estate agent I was coaching one time, and I said, hey, I'm going to help you with this. I'm going to help you create a profit center. And I said, you need to sell some advertisement in the marketing you're doing. She goes, well, how do I do that? I just pick up the phone. I say, hey, this is Hoss Pratt, ABC Real Estate. Just wanting to call, give you a first opportunity to be the exclusive fence company for our upcoming vendor folder. What happens is you're going to be the only exclusive fence company where we're going to enthusiastically endorse you, encourage our customers to use you. We've heard great things about you, and we wanted to give you first right of refusal. And we'd like to give you one of the best spaces available. Well, how much is it? I can get you in one of the prime spots right now for $3,000. Done. You'll be the exclusive fence company. Okay, I'll do it. $3,000 within 5 minutes. That's what I'm talking about. Like, but the folder's not designed. Well, who cares? Now we can get it designed. Like, and know this, Chaz, I've done that in everything I've done, buddy. Yeah. Like right now, just it's all in the offer, right? Like how I position that offer. It's exclusive or inviting you. Yeah. That stuff's important. But
by the way, everything you said was true.
Totally. Yeah. It's all true. But I'm really, here's the deal. I've learned how to say things right? Like, as I've had so many, I've done sales for so long and an inch wide and,
Yep.
and a mile deep.
Yep.
And like, it's all in how you position the offer. And yet you're exactly right.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't agree more. I just talked about this on a previous episode. We just did this whole, on my book, 5+1, behind me here, we just did this whole playbook coaching thing that we put together, right? Well, what's interesting is people asked me about it. We had the idea like 6 weeks ago. Now, we had a lot of it already developed. We just had to put it all together. We went out and offered that opportunity before the whole thing was done. And we were just, like you said, get the lawns first. Guys, I think if you're listening to this, what Hosss said is just so powerful. It's probably one of the most powerful things on any of the podcasts that I've done. And I want to also go back to something else that I think was, and you were telling the story, so I didn't want to stop you, but when you went into the banker, right? Guys, there's so many times we go, I don't have the resources, I can't do it. But you got resourceful. You said, I'm going to go get those lawns first, and then I'll go to the banker and say, look, and that's being resourceful. And I think when we're in business and we're starting, you may not have the resources like Hosss demonstrated, but be resourceful.
Get the resources. Being resourceful is a word that I like, because it's one word that if you're not resourceful, you will not be successful as an entrepreneur. Like, resourcefulness is something that you've got to do. You got to master, because here's why. I believe I can make anything happen. I truly do. Like, I believe I could do anything. Not that I should or but like, I believe if I wanted to, I could.
Yeah.
Anything. Why? Because if I've just experienced that, and like, and same thing with you, right? I mean, Chaz, you can make anything happen.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
And of course it's a confidence. It's not a cockiness. It's just because I'm going to do whatever's required to make it happen.
Confident, not cocky, but you got to walk the wire. There's been times in my career where maybe I was cocky. Like when I was young and motivated, like people could have thought I was cocky, right? Because you see a young, motivated kid, it's like, you got a lot of growing to do, right? Yeah. But like, I've always been that. I've always been the youngest one in everything I do. Like, I've always had to prove myself. When I got into real estate in my early 20s, like, I looked like I was 14 years old. I was listing the crap out of homes, and like, people were always looking at my age. Like, when I started doing seminars at 25, I'd be in California. They'd be like, "What the hell are you going to teach me? Like, what do you know? Like, you've only been in real estate for 5 years." So I would have to crush it and control the room and to control the conversation, control the kitchen table presentation. And like, so a lot of that, my sales style comes from me being young, having to prove that it's irrelevant.
I noticed too, when you said that, like crushing the conversation and controlling it, but I also noticed when you were role playing the knocking on the door with the cards, you still have that script internalized.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. And I want people who are listening to this to understand that often I think successful people sometimes are viewed as winging it, but there's no way you were winging it.
You know what's funny? I just got done watching some videos. I shot video all week this week, and I was watching these videos, and I had that thought. Me and Brenda, my sister, were like, those were great videos. And if you were here, you would think I was winging it, because I didn't. Like, I was literally next one. But what happens, though, Chaz, is when you said the words that many times, it's words are currency, it's money, and like, it becomes conditioned. So like, and it becomes your thing. So when you know how to say things and what to say because you've said it, then you can write books, you can do things like that, and you can sell a lot more. And it's impossible to get those words without making the calls, knocking the doors, being nose to nose, toes to toes, belly to belly, more than anybody. Like, there's no way around it. To master the game, you gotta just do it more than everybody.
So repetition's the key to getting that. Or did you go somewhere and learn these scripts? Like, if I'm a business owner, I'm listening to this going, I get it, but I don't know where to get those scripts. I don't know how to create those. Like, is it repetition just, or
it's in repetition? It starts with repetition, because you don't need the scripts to start. Remember, we're getting the lawns first. So just pick up the phone. Like, that's what I mean. Like, there is no magic script that you need to know. That will come to you. And I love that process, Chaz. So like, for me, like, remember, I'm still a kid trying to prove that, that I'm not going to fail. Like, and so I will just go least amount of resources, just go right to the thing and to start doing it. and I'm running from it. So I'm doing it more and I'm doing it more and I'm doing it more and I'm getting good and I'm feeling it. Now I'm starting to see, like, it's almost like this now. It's like, I remember going door to door. Like, I knew if people were going to buy within the first 3 seconds, just based on their energy.
Wow.
3 seconds. And that's what happens is conditioning. You got to get it conditioned.
And so this fear of failing has just driven you, like you keep talking about. You mentioned it so many times. So I want to know for you, where does that come from? Like, what?
I know. I need the tissues, dude. I need to figure out why I didn't get hugs when I was 5 or something. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, is there something there that you like go, I just can't fail? Or did you have a failure that was just so?
No, I think I'm just still, I think here's something I would say. Self-work. Like, self-work is something that everybody has to do. You all are all screwed up. Like, all of you. Like, you're imperfect. You think maybe you had it great, maybe, but you didn't. Like, maybe those things that happened did make you think a certain way. But like, as a child, you didn't know any different. You didn't know any better. And so I think as far as personal growth goes, we all have to go to work on ourselves. Like, we got to go figure out the driver, figure out the why. And I've done that, man. I've done so much self-work, and like, it just comes down to that. Like, not wanting to fail. I'll give you an example. This is a crazy story. Like, in my self-work, I know how I've always wanted my dad's love. I had 3 brothers. My dad was an amazing salesman, good-looking guy, sold insurance. Like, I wanted to be him. Like, he was my hero. And I grew up in the country, and I remember one time we got in our farm truck, and we were driving, hauling some mattresses to my dad's friend's house. And I was, they didn't have seat belts in those things. They're rickety. I mean, there's holes in the floor.
Oh, yeah.
We're driving down the road, and we hit a bump on this bridge, and I'm leaning against the passenger door, and the door flies open, and I fall out of the truck going down the road, and on the bridge, I fall out. Here's what's crazy. Even today, I was 5 or 6 when that happened. As I'm in midair, I lock eyes with the person behind me in the car behind me, and I still remember her face today, like her jaw dropping, like she's seeing this kid fall out of a truck. And I'm rolling, and I almost fall off the bridge into the creek, but I just hung on at the last minute and last second. And in that moment, my dad runs around, freaking out, bawling, screaming, picks me up, hugs me, and is just so grateful I'm alive. And he's just holding me, right? Yeah. That moment right there is what and I know this is deep, but this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, right.
Doing the self-work, I knew the love was there. So as a child, I would do whatever to get more of that. Now, am I going to get that? No, but it's there. And I know what drives me. So like, a lot of times when people are going through their journey, they got to figure those things out. And, life is beautiful, and life happens for you, not to you. And everything that has happened has made you who you are. And it's important to recognize it and recognize, the difference that, it has made, but it's going to make for you moving forward.
I think that's probably, appreciate that story, but I think that there's probably a lot of people relating to that they're wanting either some acceptance or something from someone is what's driving them. And that's a powerful force. I mean, it's a powerful thing to want the approval or acceptance or love of somebody based on what we're doing, Right. Guys, we're listening to Hoss Pratt just sharing some amazing stuff today about business, personal. We're kind of all over, but this is so good. And listen, I want to ask you something else though. You train people, and you're one of the best that I've seen at helping people, kind of like what Jimbo did for you. Yes. Right? You help others see their gift and then help them see really clearly their path to do what's required. And I know you've got, you had messaged me and said, look, man, I've got something powerful, and I'm very familiar with what you're doing, but you got this thing called Double Your Business Blueprint. Right. Tell our listeners about that, because I think it's a powerful thing.
Yeah. So, and that's what I do. It's helping. I look at business this way: it's a vehicle. It's a vehicle to fund your life. It's not your life. If you think your business is your life, then it affects relationships, health, all those things. It's really not. Like, we got to look at this business like it's simply a vehicle that we're building to fund our life. It's not our life. Yeah. We're building it to serve our life. And so if we look at business that way, it's like, well, what do I need to do and build in order to achieve what I want to achieve? And through talking to so many people, I've coached have over 5,500 hours of coaching people. yeah, there's so many people simply want to double their business. They're like, I just want to double the business. I want to work less. Like, and so for me, I that's what I've done for 10 years is help people build something that's twice as big, effective as it is now. And they have more freedom, more time. And I take them through this process. And what happens is they then become free. And that's what the double the business blueprint. In fact, I want to invite you guys to check it out. You guys, anybody that's listening, it's a salesperson or a business owner, go to what is that URL, Brenda? I'm taking action now. There you go. I'mTakingActionNow.com. I'm going to put it up there. I'm going to let you guys watch it. And it's I think it's like an hour-long webinar that takes you through this process of how you can do it. And, you're here, you want to be here. What got you here isn't going to get you there. What got you here is exactly what's preventing you from getting there. What do we need to do in 12 months if we're having a conversation that you achieved everything that you want to achieve and you're living the dream? What would have to happen for this to be considered a success? And those are things that I teach you and I help you get clear on. So we're always moving forward and always growing.
Yeah. What I love is like, you've helped so many people. Like the success stories are massive that you're creating this ripple that's really powerful. That's got to feel good. Right.
Absolutely. I love it. You are too, Chaz.
Thank you. So give our listeners one tip and maybe share how building a network for you has helped you grow the current business you're in or past businesses. And what's one tip to help grow and expand their network?
One thing to do is on your journey on the way up and on the way to doubling your business, you got to put yourself in a place to be around the people that can help you. And it's not and you don't go into it with that mindset of, oh, I need to go find this person or that person. I want you to think of if you build it, they will come. If you do what I'm saying, people will come to you. Okay. So on your journey, here's what I've experienced. When you put yourself in the arena, you don't know those people in the arena. Like you can't sit back and go, well, I hope Susie, Tom, and Chrissy's there. Don't worry about if Susie, Tom, and Chrissy's there. Just go there and trust that you will attract the people you need to attract. And don't try to force it and don't try to control it, because that's what we like to do as humans. I look at this as the spiritual side of growth. Like I've experienced God in my life of just equipping me with the right people or in the right moment, somebody came to me. And so I think deeply on this, like Jimbo in my life. I'm like, why? Because those people have always came to me, and I've experienced that in business. As long as you're doing the things that you need to do in the arena, the people will show up. And don't try to force it, but expect to attract it because you're focused in doing the right things. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So we often talk about the law of proximity, getting in proximity to these kinds of, whether you said the arena, right? Getting in the arena. If you never show up, you got to get out from isolation, get out from behind your computer and get out and get in front of people, connect, get out and be in the places where these people congregate, or you're never going to get the opportunity.
Or create it, Chaz, right? Like in the arena is set the date on when's the mastermind, when's the networking function. Yeah. So create the arena. And I feel like that's an important thing for everybody to know is you don't do it unless you're forced to. So just set the date. Set the date. So everything you do.
Jimbo said, when's the date? When are you moving?
That's right.
Yeah. Man, Hosss, it's so grateful. I appreciate you taking the time to be with our listeners today. So much value, so much wisdom. Again, guys, if you want to connect with Hosss on the Double Your Business Blueprint, it's I'mTakingActionNow.com. Hosss, how else can they reach out, follow you, connect with you? Like what social media?
Find me on social. Like I'm active on social. You guys get more content. I'm always posting stuff, doing videos. At Hoss Pratt and at nearly every social platform. So it's HOSS PRATT. But call our office. Listen, if you want help and you need coaching and you're like, here's what I help people do: coaching and mindset, marketing, systems, and conversion. Like equipping the business owner, the entrepreneur to grow their business. And if that's you, then I want to hear from you. So let's set up a conversation. I'll discuss what we can do to help you grow your business. And you can email me personally at Hosss@HossPratt.com. It's HOSS@HOSSPRATT.com.
Guys, so powerful. Thank you, Hosss. I mean, how many of our people we've had on the podcast have given their own personal email address to the listeners? So He means it. He's sincere. Let me wrap with a couple of things that I took away from today, you guys. I love the get the lawns first. Wrote that down. I might, Hosss, with your permission, use that and use your story because I love the get the lawns first.
Take it.
Be resourceful, right? Be resourceful when you don't have the resources. Love that. He's got the double your business blueprint. Be in proximity. Get in the arena. Guys, we've been blessed today on this episode of Connect, Share, Prosper. Hosss, once again, thank you for being our guest today.
Thanks, Chaz. Appreciate you.